Okay, my friends, better mood today than I've been in a long time. This is Science Alert from today, the 15th of March. Breaking, breathtaking photos of Mars terrain hint at mysterious cyclical past. Now, I have a very close friend, Mr. Castro, at NASA, and he's been with CERN and all of those places, so he's pretty networked guy. So he knows all these people and he knows everything about it. So I want him to talk to me about this mysterious stuff on Mars and all of these formations that they really have no clue what to think about. And they talk about it's billions of years and loose sediments and cemented and, and they're talking about they really don't know how these things formed, and they say it's unclear exactly how the deposits formed, but the deposits could have been made on annual timescales or even longer. So they think they're deposits. Well, let's take a look at some of the stuff from Curiosity, and Mr. Castro will gladly, I'm sure, comment. He's commented on all of my videos, so I'm sure he's going to want to talk about this. So let's talk about what I think is up there on Mars. Okay, so, of course, Don Lincoln from Fermilab, he'd like to be involved in this too, I'm sure. So, Don Lincoln and Mr. Castro. What I want to do is to ask you about this formation here up on Mars, which was from NASA. You see it, NASA down here? This is from the Curiosity, the original mission. And I claim that everything is biological. Now, I just make that statement. And this is an artery. And an artery has little blood vessels that support all of the muscles, sarcomeres, and all of the tissues that are around it. And it also has a vein that brings the blood back up to the heart to be recycled. And that vein doesn't have any little attachments to speak of. It's really a terminal vein, and it sucks all the stuff back. But this has to supply to every bit of this loose connective tissue. And what do we see here? Loose connective tissue. And why do I say it's loose connective tissue, and why is it all separated and broken like this? Well, the reason is these are what they call sarcomeres, and those are muscle tissues, and they pinch together in these bundles. That's why we see in these bundles like this, and all of these are the actual connective tissue. Muscles have to pull and give and gush around like that, but they also have to be connected. So these are the loose, floppy connective tissues. The red, bloody, fleshy stuff has eroded out, which makes red, bloody, sandy clays. And this is exactly what we see. So there's not really, and now let me show you the rest of the stuff. So I say this is biological, and this is on NASA, from NASA, and this is up on Mars, and this was from 2014, I believe, and I posted about this back then. Let me show you some more things that are up there that pretty much show that it's biological, and Earth is biological as well. Okay, so the Mars crab is of artery that's servicing the tissue like this. This doesn't show an artery, but this is the little breaks in the as I call them, loose connective tissue, and these are the blocks. So they separate in these blocks and these little stripes, and all of the pulley, muscly stuff erodes out because that's the red, fleshy stuff. But then you have all these little lines laying in here, which are all the connective tissue. And that keeps, and this is when they're pinched together. This, up there, I suppose they're probably pretty relaxed by now. Okay, one more time, just so you understand, that's the artery that services the red blood that has all the nutrients and oxygen and all that stuff in it. And there's the vein that brings it back up to, in our case, the heart. I don't know about here. Now, what is all these little stripy looking things next to it? You see them all down here? Those are those sarcomeres. Remember I showed you got blocks and stripes, and you got all those little tiny connective tissues? Those are all those blocks. And there, right down there at the bottom, is the crab. And there it is, expanded. And all that is a servicer of blood. And all of that stuff right there, that red tissue right there, that red sandy looking stuff, all that is eroded flesh. All right, because flesh has to be held together with something, and it's held together with loose connective tissues. And that's what gives you your muscles to be able to pull back in. These pinch into each other. And then when the red blood runs out of it and all the gooey stuff, it just lays all over. That's why they call it the red planet, because everything is dead that was alive, which is the entire planet. All right, check this out. This is in my shop. You see that red blood running out of here? There's a whole layer of red blood that services this tissue below. And you say, well, what tissue is that, Roger? And I say, well, it's this tissue right here. This is a rock that is in my shop. And when I first took it out of the ground, you could still see all the red blood. See, when they come out of the ground and they just were muddy, you could still see a lot of the tissue, you know, how it looks exactly like it was when it was alive. These are the connective tissues, are the white ones, and the red striping is the bloody stuff. This is right as it wraps into the tendon. This is the tendon, and right back here was a bone emplacement. I have the rock here, and there's a big round spot here, and this glues the tendon, and it comes over to the muscle. You see that muscle actually wraps around in a circle. I'm not kidding you. In a microscope, you can see it perfect. And there's glue between these abrupt transitions. Like this is an abrupt transition. You can't see it well here, and that's an abrupt transition where the mineralization stops. After a little while, you don't have quite so much whitish stuff, and then you get into the real red bloody stuff as the big muscle grows. And this is the supplier of the nutrients to it. And up on Mars, it eroded back far enough where we could see all of the crab fingers sticking out. All right, that is a mountain. That is not just sediment. That is loose connective tissue. And the runoff here, all that red runoff, is the fleshy red stuff. All I'm going to tell you is this is what I have found, and to suppress this is not acceptable anymore. Okay, it's another NASA picture of the Mars blueberries. Well, this is the basement layer of skin. This is interstitium. Above it would have been another layer, which in between now, that stuff has eroded away and just dried up and dusted away. There doesn't appear to be much erosion up there, and I can show that because of the Mars Morse code. Okay, so another NASA shot with skin. This is interstitium. This is pinched and gathered skin, This is stretched skin. And you see these little straps and these balls? Well, those are the straps and balls of interstitium. And this is what's called the Mars Morse code. And you can see the straps are stretched and the balls remain, because the balls are the tough things. The straps are gooey and they pull everything back to where the balls were. So this is probably kind of higher up, and you know, the dusting and so forth has, because it almost looks like it's sandblasted. Look at that. Isn't that something? And this is pretty good size. I don't know exactly dimensions of this, but this was from Curiosity as well, which is the Mars original rover mission. And I think Curiosity's still running up there they did the best work. Okay, I showed you the Mars blueberries. That's this sort of stuff, and they're everywhere, and they're all over Earth too. So, and they are in space. Everything I can find now is biological, and I'd like to have Mr. Castro and Don Lincoln and the people from NASA and JPL and all these people that I've been trying to get to take a look at that. Take a look at this. They're showing their pictures. I'm showing mine. I think there should be some discussion. I have done all the research on mud fossils. I understand these things very, very well. All right, I think you remember this shot, which is the interstitium, which is the layer between your skin and the basement layer, and all of these stretchy, flappy fibers and all of these balls. Well, if you want, that is literally skin. Now, what would leather be? Well, leather belts and leather goods are nothing more than this. They're exactly that. And they're using these straps and balls to secure the fact that it won't rip and tear. That's why leather is so durable, and it has some kind of give to it here and there. It's nothing more than skin. And again, I say that is nothing more than skin of a gigantic creature. And I say this right here is nothing more than my belt. And it is, hold on, it is genuine leather. I just want you to be able to realize that there's no fake stuff going on here. Genuine leather, capiche? Now, let's put this in the microscope. Hold on. Alright, I showed you this is genuine leather belt. This is in the microscope. Now let's go up here to the screen. And I have it way off. This is like a, you know, a telescoping microscope. Now, I'm way off and we're seeing these shiny little things. Those are the black balls. And all these straps are in here, which is all that interstitium. You say, oh, Roger, I don't see that. I said, okay, let's come a little closer. Stay with me. This is going to get a little rocky here. I'm going to come up a little closer, not all the way at this point. It just takes a minute to focus in. Come on, baby. There we go. Alright, here. Now, so now I'm a little closer. Let me get a better shot of that. Alright, you see it? When they, let me turn the lights down a little bit on this so there, that's a little better. You can see better. Now, when they tan leather, holy smokes. There we go. When they tan leather, they take the hides and they roll them and squish them. These are the black balls. And they're all crushed now, pretty much. But these are the fibers. And you say, well, I don't see really any fibers. I said, well, I can show you those fibers much better. Let's come right down on top of it, okay? Just about on top. All right, now, let me focus in. Okay, you see the fibers a little better now, right? You see those fibers running here and there? Now watch this. Where my belt loop, see the little black balls? Some of them didn't get crushed completely. This is what they are all supposed to be originally, were like that. But now, and these are the fibers. Now, here's the belt loop. Now we're going to see the fibers in their most magnificent fibericity. You see it? There they are. Every one of them has one of those attached to it. This is nothing more than just a chunk of leather. And as you go away from the belt, they're not stretched and pulled. That is just nothing more than interstitium, and that is exactly what is on Mars. The Mars Morse code. Now, so here we have the Moki marbles. This is here on Earth, and this is the basement layer, just like I showed you with the Mars blueberries, and these are the blueberries and they're the blackberries on Earth. Now, what is this? This is the mud, and mud runs away from the fleshy area in between all these balls and slurpy interstitium loose connective tissue. And let me show you that in the anatomical and another place on Earth where we can see the actual wall, and then we can see the erosion, we see the balls, and they are much, much bigger than this, because everything there is biological. The Earth is a biological entity, and I believe it's probably dead by now. Okay, so Mr. Castro and Don Lincoln, here's the deal. Those are the little black balls that are called the Moki marbles and the Mars blueberries. This, all this wavy, flappy stuff, is the loose connective tissue. And what this does is, as you move your skin, this is basically skin, it's everywhere in your body. It's a membrane layer. Let's go with that. This is a membrane. This is the top layer, and then the basement layer, like I showed you before. They don't show it here. And in between is all this floppy, loose stuff. Now, these stretch and pull. These brown ones are springs. They open the bags back up again so that they stay and keep their form, and you keep, you know, as you get older, they get floppier and floppier, and everybody understands that, and mine is getting pretty floppy. Now, these give you the ability to bring yourself back. On Mars, I showed you the Mars Morse code. That is gathered skin in one place and stretched it in another. And that's why they were eroded, and those balls, straps were eroded. We have a spot in the United States that we're working on right now in Oregon that has every bit of what I'm showing you on Mars, and every bit as big. And look at this. This is in the United Kingdom. All right. Those are the Mars blueberries, only here they're on steroids. This is the mucosa layer, which is likely skin in this case. I'm telling you, I can't account for it. Don't yell at me. This is the interstitial layer, which has all these balls embedded. See them all over the place here? I don't know if you can see that or not. You see them? And all the white skin is falling off, and that turns into the mud. You see this? This is the mud. The clay is mud, and that is from bodily tissues. This is, you see all this stuff growing on there? That's not just rocks. There's biology growing on this because these are tasty. That's tasty. That's blood meal right there. That's blood meal. That's what you feed plant life and algae and so forth. Now, this is just eroding away because the water is eroding. I mean, that's what happens with these creatures as they have been here. Now, Velikovsky did a lot of research on a total catastrophe 3,500 years ago. And I don't know if this is the result of that or this was prior to that and there was other things. I'm not going to make any statements about that, but I can tell you this. This is life. This is biology. This is not just rocks. And it is this type of biology right here. And this is the biology that's on Mars. There is no difference. Now, Mr. Castro and Don Lincoln are the people with NASA and Fermilab and all the, and they have dismissed me a little bit harsh, I thought, kind of demeaning, dismissive. And, you know, I believe they're academics. I think you would call them academics. You know, Mr. Castro claims he was with CERN and with NASA. Well, apparently he's with NASA right now. And he also claims he did some big project that I claim was just a total waste of money. Because we've done, I not only do this, I do the light research. And I'm just going to show you that one quick thing. And that's why they have dismissed me, because I think I'm stepping on their toes. But we need to get people that are academics to speak, because that's their obligation. I think if they are academics, I don't know if he's an academic or not, but let me show you what an academic is obligated to do. All right, these are not my words. These are the words of the people that investigate academic fraud. It means plagiarism. They steal your work. The deliberate falsifications where if I was lying about something or they're lying about something. Misstatements, well, that can happen. I never go, everybody can make mistakes. So I'm not saying that's fraud. They said that, I didn't say that. Alteration of evidence or data. If I faked a bunch of stuff, that's fraud, obviously. Now, here's the part where I come in. The deliberate suppression of relevant evidence or data. I'm showing relevant. All my stuff is very relevant. I have DNA tests and CAT scans and specimens. I even have a goose named Caesar. And there's his feathers. And I understand the process. I discovered mud fossils and I named them mud fossils. And I investigated for the last many, many years. Minimum 10, I've been, well, more than that, I've been trying to force this into academia, and that's where this comes into, right here, deliberate suppression of relevant evidence. This is not going to end well, I don't think, for them. So, Mr. Castro, Don Lincoln, please respond. This, I think, if you're academics, I think this pertains to you. All right, here's where Don Lincoln comes in. We accelerated pulse red laser. Accelerated. Not supposed to be able to happen. And he claims that it's not happening, that I'm just crazy. And this is the particle wave duality. The wave is a magnetic field. The particle is being completely sucked out of the wave. We started with light. So I would say to Don Lincoln, is that light, sir, from a red laser? And I don't know. He would say, oh, I don't know. And he did. He's exactly what he said. He said, I can't tell. And I said, is that light accelerating? He said, oh, no, that's just nothing. And I said, the particle that is accelerating from the light is that particle. Said, oh, no. Well, let me just show you what he's looking to do with light, which is the smallest particle, basically, is to create muons and electron showers. And I show you light. I show you light accelerating. I show you light concussing at a device we constructed, which is called a Venturi. I show you the particle of light, which is right there, which is a combined black and white particle back to back which is what we call a photon. And the reason we can see this is because of these smartphones with these extremely energetic CMOS pixel receiving devices inside. And they use them for cosmic ray detection. So there's no reason we can't see this. And we are putting that detector right up on the event and looking at it and then expanding it and then working with the images. We didn't create that image, the phone created that image due to this interaction. All right? And if you look up smartphones, it goes back to 2014, and we were using them since then doing these, because I did a video on this, I think it was 2015, about everything about this, and about separating these particles and making exactly what Don Lincoln wants to see, which is this right here. He's looking for these electron neutrinos, which turn into electron showers. That's the white particle. Remember the white and black were together? All right? I'm sure you remember that. It was only a second ago. My mind's not good, but I can remember. The muon neutrino was a black ball. So the black and white ball were attached together. It was back to back. Boom! They hit. It's called Cherenkov radiation when it concusses into another medium. The black ball doesn't change. It didn't change. The black ball is still exactly the same black ball as it was before. Never changed, but it cannot get through our slit. That's the key. All we're letting through is the white ones. And why would the light ones be able to get through there, Roger? Well, glad you asked. Because the white ones are able to compress. The black ones cannot compress. You see this? There's the particle I showed you. That's a photon. And you can scream all you want, but I'm starting from light. I showed it accelerate. I showed the particle that was in that stream of acceleration. And it is exactly what CERN and Fermilab see when they break up protons. They're just doing it wrong. We are crushing the fields inside of the Venturi. And here's what the outcome is. We can see the particle glow. And this is just going to be regular light. They're going to glow as they come through the atmosphere. Bouncing into the particles, these little dots in front, are push to shove electric fields. They're all ours magnetic fields. I am a magnetic field. You have magnetic fields built into your particles. I push you, you shove back. I'm glowing like hell because I'm the tough guy. You glow not quite so much. The black particles, they don't have any impact whatsoever. None whatsoever. None. Zero. All they want to do is suck back the white ones. And I believe this is dark matter. And dark matter follows exactly what this does. And in addition, I say that dark matter cannot compress. White matter, light, electron neutrinos, absolutely can compress. And we can see it. They can compress, they can expand. No question whatsoever. And they are energetic. Absolutely no question whatsoever. The black ones don't. And there's no question whatsoever about that. All they do is want to be back together with the white ones. So what did we do? We created fusion. All right, cold fusion. And that's the holy grail. And that could get us out of the energy problems we're in right now, because we have increased the energy value by splitting, which is fission, but on a subatomic particle range, not atomic. Atomic fission means you break gigantic particles apart, and you have hand grenades flying everywhere. You got to get the hell out of town. This is light. We're starting with only the tiniest particles of light, and then splitting the photons. So we have sterile muon neutrinos, the black ones, and we have the electron showers. Exactly what CERN wants. And I think Don Lincoln should, because we did go back and forth, and he just turned me loose. He said, no, get lost. So I would say Mr. Castro and Don Lincoln and NASA and CERN and all of them should engage in a little discussion with Roger, because I want to discuss the things that I have to discuss, not the things that you just force on us. And it's time to stop this. I don't want to get nasty about it, but I have had to become aggressive and sort of nasty. You don't get anywhere being nice. They just push you to the side. And they're still doing that even when I'm being nasty. If somebody was being nasty to me like I'm being nasty to them, I would stand up for myself. It's disgraceful, to be honest with you. All right, best thing to do is to come up and look at this article about smartphones can detect cosmic rays, and that's in the outer atmosphere. We're using them right directly on the event, so we are way better off than they are. But they can use them to see cosmic rays. And what are the cosmic rays? They create showers of secondary particles called muons. We're right on top of them and looking at the muons. And they say the app basically transforms the phone into a high energy particle detector. Uses the same principles as very large experiments. Same as the high-end multi-million-dollar observatory. So don't tell me I can't see these things. We can see them very clearly, absolutely no question. All right, so what you guys are going to have to do is step up and start emailing people. I can't get through to anybody. I am blocked everywhere. They will not let me speak to anyone. This is really not right at all. And it goes back to this academic fraud. Are these people academics? If they are and they won't discuss anything, is that fraud? I don't know. But I sure as hell like to see it investigated. All right, I'm not going to belabor this. I've shown it a bazillion times. Pulsed red laser. Pulsed red laser accelerating. And the particle that it creates the wave is a magnetic particle. It slams into our venturi we created that makes it so confined that only the dark side stays away. The white side goes through as a shower. You see this? That created fission and fusion. Fission means to break something apart, and the black ball breaks apart from the white ball. And then they come back to the other side. That is fusion. Now, so we just can see the red light from the laser. We see it accelerating. We see the particle coming out, and that is what is in that particle wave. And this is precisely what they need to do to create this extreme amount of energy. That's fission, that's fusion. Right in here is supposed to be 207 times the amount of energy it required to create this. We added no additional energy to separate these particles. That's the key. When they add energy to separate them, all they're doing is putting in a bunch of energy to separate them, and then they're taking back some of the energy. They never get back to even. We are getting 100% free, and we separate them, and they can't separate them. So I need Don Lincoln specifically from Fermilab, and of course Mr. Castro, he's been after me about everything. And all they are is deniers. And I don't want to be mean or nasty. I want to get this thing done. I want somebody to step up and say, come on, let's just take a look at it. That's all. Forget the egos, forget the embarrassment, forget everything. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad about it. I'm just trying to make them look at this. We are in trouble, and deep, deep, deep trouble. To just dismiss this after what I have shown you is not correct. It's just not right. All right? Exactly what they're looking for at Fermilab. Identical. Sterile muon neutrinos, electron showers. The most basic elementary particles. All right? Please, someone get a hold of me. And please, contact anyone you can contact. Twitter, however you can do it. I have to try to figure out how to use Twitter. I just do the research, and I had expected it would just take off. I mean, it's so real you can't miss it, and to just dismiss it is very, very concerning to me. Very concerning.